Looking to make your holiday gifts more extraordinary? There's one place you need to go, PaperSource. PaperSource's gift wrap collection includes hand-illustrated designs, stone paper, sustainable handmade fine papers, and even pine-scented wrap. Don't want to do any wrapping? PaperSource has easy solutions with their pre-wrap gift boxes and bags. Or you can leave it to the professionals with their in-store wrapping service. Give yourself time back and wrap up your holidays with something extraordinary. Visit papersource.com or stop by a PaperSource near you today.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here is your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
I thank you all for coming on today. I have a wonderful guest today who is genuine, intelligent, very passionate about what he does, right? And that, he's going to share some stories on mistakes, that entrepreneurs sometimes make when they first are starting out. But before we get into all that, he's going to talk about how maybe he produced over $30 million in revenue since 2005. How he started his company with just $100, and some of us get intimidated by what we hear out there on the internet, right? Where we need more money and, to invest. But, he's a proven life-size person, right? In front of us that shows that you can make it, right? But he has been named one of Colorado's Biz Magazine's top 5 most influential young professionals, one of 40 under 40 top business leaders by the Northern Colorado Business Report. He has been featured in publications such as Inc. Magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine. You get the picture, right? And it's funny enough that I'm saying picture because he's painting. Right. So he's a painter. So it's something that you could fall in love with. He's been a hustler since the age of 10, 12 with a lawnmower, as he said, was bigger than him. Right. I thank each and every one of you for coming on. I'm bringing to you none other than Matt. Matt, thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, man. So excited to be here.
Cool. So as I stated, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see or hear from new entrepreneurs?
One of the big ones is not asking for help and understanding that it's there. And when you step into that world, there's so many business owners that are willing to help a new business owner. And it's a scary space to step into. And I didn't realize that till I bumped into a gentleman. My company's name, it's M&E Painting. It's the letters M&E for Matt and Emily. There's a gentleman who owned an M&J carpet cleaning. He moved here from Lebanon, I think in the 80s or 90s, started this business, bootstrapped it, same thing. And I bump into him in a coffee shop and he's like, Matt, he called me across the coffee shop. I got 3 calls for painting this week. They thought M&J was M&E. And I said, I got 3 calls for carpet cleaning because we get that. And he goes, how's business? How's revenue? And he'd buy me coffee. Nice. And sit down. And I didn't even ask for it. I'm like, wow, there's a very successful business guy helping out a young up and coming business guy. So I think one mistake is we don't realize that. So first realize that and then just reach out and ask for help, whether it's in your industry or somebody else that's been there, done that.
So in starting out, as I stated earlier, in introducing you, you started off very, very early, So what things have you learned from that early on, mowing lawns, if you will? So what have you learned from that point to now?
Yeah, it was really interesting. There's so many facets to business, right? Whether it's just a little lawn mowing business as a 10-year-old, right? That's my unofficial cash business.
Yes.
Don't tell the government. And then all the way up to the painting business, right?
Right.
Is every business owner just needs to keep it very, very simple at the very beginning. So people ask me, you started a business with $100? Yes, I put that in a bank account. I got the LLC online, the EIN, tax ID. I went to the bank, opened the account, put $100 in it. I went and knocked on 100 of the closest doors that afternoon. Hello, I'm Matt. I'm going to be painting. I had some previous experience working with a college painting company, and I knew that if I knocked on this many doors for this much time, I would receive a lead, a business opportunity to go do an estimate. And I think when business owners start, I see that they've got so many things. I need to do this funnel and this website and this campaign. It's like, nope, find out who your audience is, where they are, how you can find them, and get a chance to do business with them. Keep it as simple and inexpensive as possible till you can start building some predictable ratios, right, of your time or money investment into your marketing. It's very simple. Business is marketing, sales, delivery of whatever you're selling, and then getting paid for it, and then continuing that cycle. But there's all these things you have to do, and it's overwhelming for a new business owner.
So how much of that is hustle? I heard that something that, on one of your other shows that you were on, talking about, that idea of hustling. So how much of that is hustle or sleepless nights or whatever that is? Because sometimes we don't want to adjust to that.
Yeah, it's that word hustle, I think, can be communicated by the person speaking it and then received by the person hearing it based on their filters. But
right.
When I say hustle, I'm 10 years old. I want a boombox. I want a $200 boombox. Like, that's the world's amount of money for me. My parents say, you got to figure out how to do that. I've got a lawnmower. And when I say I just went out and hustled, I just knocked on doors. So it's just that, for me, it's that relentless pursuit of a goal, being very clear on what that goal is and how to get there, and then just working towards that. And I think if you've been a 30-year employee with a nice, safe, secure, cush job, and you're like, I'm going to go start a business. I say, you need to hustle. That means, no one's checking in on you if you clock in at 9 o'clock.
Right.
No one's checking in if you clock out. Like, you get to work whenever you want, however you want, wherever you want. And you've just got to relentlessly pursue that goal. I think that's important. That's critical for a new entrepreneur. But I'd also say the hustle, I work, there's 165 hours in a week. Is that what it is? 168?
Yeah.
And I work 180 hours a week. Like, those people, that's crazy. You can't do that. That whole mentality of totally desert and leave everything else you do in every other domain of your life, I don't recommend that. But then I also would say is, if you're going to start a business, you need to let the other domains and people within those domains of your life know, hey, for the next 6 months, I'm going to be coming home a little bit later. I'm going to be leaving a little bit earlier. We're not going to sit home and watch Netflix after dinner. Like, I'm going to be making some calls or building out the website and just being clear about that.
Right.
It's entrepreneurship is one of the coolest, most exciting highs of highs on the roller coaster, and scary and crazy lows of lows that can literally change from like 8:30 a.m. to 8:31. You're just, and then there's seasons. So yeah, I've loved it. I just love it.
So one of the things that you had just mentioned, talking about someone who's working, their 9 to 5, and the as people call it, the golden handcuffs, right? What corporate America provides you. So how would you suggest to someone to get over that? Because that can be very comfortable. Being an entrepreneur, as you just stated, is a total roller coaster, right? So
it is.
Well, what is something that you would suggest to someone to kind of help them get over that hump, if you will?
Yeah. I actually have a video coaching series I put together. It's called Jump Ship, and it's a framework of understanding how to quit your job and start your business. And what I would say is, it depends on how you ride the roller coaster, right? So there's certain personality styles where they're like, hands up, they love it. Like, let's ride this, baby. There's some people where they can have the cord cut 100%. They're making, 80, 90, 100 grand a year. I had a gentleman on my podcast. He was a police officer making 6 figures. He went out and started a junk hauling business. He did not quit his job. He said, I'm going to go out and I have, 2 hours a day. think 10 hours a week, and I'm going to see how I get business and what it produces me. And he did that. And I think 10 went to maybe 15 hours a week. And he replaced his income within 2 months. So he gets 2 months in, and he got it there. And I don't think he expected it to happen that fast, but when it did, he goes, hey, because he's the jump off the cliff kind of personality style. He might have quit earlier. He was done with police work, right? But he comes home to his wife and he's like, hey, babe, we're making the same amount of money. We've got all this benefits and car and all the other stuff, but I'm working 15 hours a week. Plus I'm working 40 or 50 at the PD. Now imagine if I have 50 or 60. There's always that moment of faith. So,
Most definitely.
I love personality style profiling. I'm like a high DEI on the disc. I'm just very outgoing and assertive and aggressive, and I jump into things. If you're more like introverted, slow, analytical, those people are going to want to really see some of those results and need those systems before they jump. Because you don't, if you don't ride the roller coaster with the hands up, then and you're like this and you're looking at the turns and the angles, that's okay too. Business can be done lots of different ways, but there's always. I knew a guy, and I'll close the point, and not just because I'm circling, but I know a guy who was kind of the opposite. He had not only replaced his income, but he was making 150, almost at some points twice the income with his business than he was with his safe, secure job, and he still wouldn't jump. It was just that fear of the unknown. So there's always that moment of faith that you have to have in yourself and the process and the business and the purpose with it.
So in talking about that, we'll get into the faith part in a moment. Talking about how you found Jesus in the back of a police car, right? But
yeah, I did. He found me, I found him, we found each other.
That's a good thing too. But how do you take $100 and turn it into a multi-million-dollar company? Like you said, the police officer, he didn't anticipate being that successful that fast. Or even the last person you just spoke about, he didn't want to jump ship necessarily. But maybe it might be the dollar amount that they're looking for that, for some people to kind of get to. So, but for yourself, how do you turn $100 into $1 million, if you will?
Yeah, because when I share it, people are like, "Oh, that's a great line for your bio." Like, explain exactly how I did it. So what I did is, I got fired from a bank that morning. I was at a corporate job that I hated. They brought me in to get all your crap, put it in a box, get out. I did. Came home, opened the bank account, and then I went to Kinko's Copies, and I bought like $30 worth of. They were cut crooked, like they were awful. I had no website. I had my cell phone number, M&E painting. Like I wasn't creative with a name. And I just knew that I'd go knock on doors. So I'm knocking on doors. I had 500 business cards and I was handing them out. And after about 6 hours, so it was over 2 days of knocking, I had estimates set up for the weekend. And then I'm like, I have to prepare an estimate and put it on some kind of tangible contract. So I went and bought $40 worth of contracts at Office Depot. So I'm $70 in. I've got $30 left. Went out that weekend. And I did 10 or 12 estimates. I landed 3 or 4 jobs, and then I took 50% down. So like right there, I've got $7,000 or $8,030 in the bank, and I had just a little bit of breathing room, right? So again, like that was technically a negative accounts receivable, right? Like if they cancel a job, I've got to give it back, but that produced some cash flow. But I realized, okay, if I go knock on doors for 15 to 20 hours a week, and I estimate for 10 to 15. I can generate $500,000 worth of business. And that was from like mid-March of 2005 through the end of that season. And we did we were just shy of $500,000 top line with a really, really great net. And then Emily quit her job. She was working in the office, just fielding calls, scheduling appointments. And I had 2 paint crews that did the painting. And then the next year we did about 750, 800. And then that third year we crossed the 1 million mark and just really started understanding how to systematize, how to hire people. And I was pretty awful at leadership and people back then. It's another point. But that's how it literally got, from being fired to, having to pay my bills and build this company.
So one of the things that when you talk about hiring people, right? When did you know that you needed to hire people or delegate? Because that's something else that, a lot of times we want to hold on as entrepreneurs. we know what the vision is, and we feel as though other people can't carry it out or whatever it is, right? So when did you know when it was time for you to hire somebody?
Yeah, I am a big believer in to really invest in what you're great at in business. What is your gifting? What is your passion? And double down on that. And it's easier to let go of the other things. So I love marketing. I love sales. I love people. I don't like painting. So when I worked with the college painters, I was not good at painting. Like I still, to this day, I can't paint a straight line or any of this stuff. So I knew immediately that I would not be painting. That was easy to let go of because I wasn't good at it and I didn't like it. And if I did it affected the business in a bad way. So, and the guys laughed at me about that. And so what was harder though, and I knew that right away. So I had that handled right away. Then what happened is I wanted to focus so much on sales. I couldn't be at the job sites managing as much. So I first brought in a project manager to say like, hey, here's the process. Here's what this looks like. But what was hardest for me, and I think is hardest for the entrepreneurs, is to really step out to be the visionary and then really scale and build that business beyond your top skill set is replacing that thing you're really good at. So the marketing and the sales, that was what came last. Okay. And that was hard for me because I'm like, man, I know I can close this percentage and this new person's only here. So I'm going to just go do it for them. Right. So that was a journey of learning how to really train people to be better than you at the process.
So, it's funny that you talked about creating a business, right? Painting business of something where you say you can't even paint a straight line. That's funny, right? So how did you start a business in something that if you couldn't paint a straight line or you didn't really like? Most people do something that they have a passion about. What made you do something that's kind of, it feels like it's the opposite of that. So what made you start something that you didn't feel that way?
It's funny. I'm 20 years in the business, right? And we do roofing. So we've added roofing in there, and I'm scared of heights. Like I'm not going to get on a roof. When I do, I start shaking, and they're like, "Look at Matt up there on the roof. Get off the ladder." I was passionate. I'm passionate just about people and marketing and sales. And again, it was really when I got fired from the bank, I didn't have too many options, man. I mean, I knew how to mow lawns from being a kid. I worked some hourly jobs at restaurants, so I'm like, I'm not going to go do that. And I knew how to do this painting thing, and I knew how to market it and how to sell it really well. And that's what got me excited. But yeah, I'm not passionate about opening up a can of paint. And I got let go. I needed to figure something out. And just my entrepreneurial sense just kicked back in. And yeah, it wasn't something that I woke up. I'm like, I really dreamed to have a painting company. Like I wasn't working at this dead end job that I hated going, I can't wait to do that. It all happened. But what happened was when we started it, I told Emily, I told my wife, I go, we'll do this for a couple of years. Let's just hold ourselves over and then figure out what we want to do. And then that just really took off. Like it took off, and here we are. So I'm like, wow, you can really support and grow a family with a business like this that's not very glamorous, not very sexy, right? But it was profitable.
And it's just interesting because most people want to do what they're passionate about, and I think what happens as an entrepreneur, if you do something that you're passionate about, it can become a job, right? Not something that you can fall out of love with that.
Yes, you have to balance that. So I love Spain, and I go to Spain every year. Yes. And my dream's always been to take people over there to show them just all the places I love and meet the people, have the experiences. And I've had an opportunity to do that. I took a group of guys, faith-based business guys over there, and we hiked part of the Camino just a couple months ago. And, I love that experience. And then as I'm hiking that, I'm like, okay, this is a business. Like this is now a business. And there's some things in my life that I'm totally okay having be a business, and I love it. And then there's certain things that just won't be. But yeah, you can't lose the passion, and you have to watch out for that. But I've also seen on the flip side somebody that has something they're passionate about, and then they find out it can make money, and it does make money, and then they go all in, and they're 10 times as happy. They get to do what they love, and it's paying their bills. Right. I know, right. Building their future. Yeah. But then on the flip side, I've also seen people, they're like, wow, I would just rather do this as a hobby and not have to put business around it because it's burning me out.
Right. So you said something that you love, being this Spain, right?
Yeah.
From cups of Spanish coffee and things like that. So how did you get this affinity for Spain?
Just done. I already had like 3 of them. It's 9:30. Yeah, I was in college at Colorado State University, and I was just kind of following the track of what everybody else was going to do, go get the degree, and I was minoring in Spanish. And I had this really wonderful Spanish professor. Her name's Maria Del Mar. She was from southern Spain, and I was in a culture class with her. She'd pull me aside every day for like 3-4 weeks straight. Hey, you should go check out my beautiful country. You should study abroad. You need to go over and check out the study abroad programs. And she wasn't doing this to everybody. It was just to me. It was really interesting. And I'm like, okay, stop, leave me alone. So I finally went and checked it out. And I'm like, I'm 19. What am I going to do next semester? I'm going to do another, college painting season, whatever. So yeah, I just decided to up and move over. I lived right outside Madrid for 5 months with a family, traveled all over the country. We had Fridays off, and then just about every other Monday is some kind of Saints Day vacation holiday. So we had a lot of 4-day weekends, and yeah, I got super fluent in the language, saw all of the country that I could, and just a really impactful time. I fell in love with just about everything about Spain while I was over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a nice story, man. When I saw your bio and it's like, there's this enjoying countless cups of Spanish coffee. You talking about you've had 3 already?
Too many sometimes. Yeah, I like that stuff.
That's good, man. So I appreciate you coming on today, Matt. Please share it with the listeners where they can find you, social media, website, things like that.
Yeah, everything you can find on mattshoup.com. I've got some free tools, business and leadership tools for business leaders and business owners. So I'd start there when you get on the site, and then you can check out anything from the books to our trips over to Spain.
Nice. So I'm going to have all your information in the description and the show notes today. But before I let you go, I will ask the same question I ask everybody, right? My would you rather question. Would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
3 doors.
Why 3 doors?
Do I open all 3 doors?
I mean, your choice. I didn't put any parameters on it.
I feel like fork in the road is 2 options, and 3 doors is 3 options. So I like the options.
Okay. The last few individuals, they said doors. It's funny. The further we get away from pandemic, people want more options now. During the pandemic, when I first started asking this question, people wanted doors. As we were coming out of it, people now just want to go left or right, or peek, So it's funny to see the trend right now, because now I'm getting more doors again. So it's really interesting how people are answering their viewpoint on life right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, that's an interesting question without having like tons of context about the question too. Yeah, I love that.
So that's been a very, very insightful, question, if you will, because it allows us to hear, what your thoughts are and maybe how you've even gone about your business.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate you answering the question. I appreciate that a lot. But thanks, Matt, for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun.
That's cool, man. Thank you very much. And continue to listen to That Will Never Work podcast. I will talk to you later.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?
Looking to make your holiday gifts more extraordinary? There's one place you need to go. PaperSource. PaperSource's gift wrap collection includes hand-illustrated designs, stone paper, sustainable handmade fine papers, and even pine-scented wrap. Don't want to do any wrapping? PaperSource has easy solutions with their pre-wrap gift boxes and bags. Or you can leave it to the professionals with their in-store wrapping service. Give yourself time back and wrap up your holidays with something extraordinary. Visit papersource.com or stop by a PaperSource near you today.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.